Hello, this is Nick from When Prog and Power Unite, and I'm speaking with legendary Yes vocalist and prolific solo artist Jon Anderson. Welcome, Jon.
Hi, how you doing, Nick?
Not too bad. Now, you've done a lot of albums at this point with various bands and projects. Is there something about your latest album, Survival and Other Stories, that you think is brand new ground for you musically?
Well, everything you do is breaking new ground. Every album you make is a new world, a new adventure. So this is just another one. It's a project that started a few years ago when I decided to put an advert on my website saying musicians wanted, because I wanted to work with people around the world. And what better way to do it than by the internet? So I got a few hundred replies, and I picked out a couple of dozen people, and I still work with them today. And it's very refreshing to work with people via the internet, because you never know what music's going to come. And they've been working in their studio environment, and they'll just send me an idea. Last week I was working on African music, and this week I'm doing some orchestral work. But Survival, the album, is just a product of this last 4 or 5 years where I've actually got enough for 3 albums, so I thought I'd better put one out quick.
Yes, and I know the basis for Survival lyrically has been your recent health struggles. Are the other 2 albums also going to follow that similar lyrical theme?
Not really. This album was about surviving 2008, where I was really sick and spent time in hospital. I've never had that before. You've had 5 operations. And you go through that experience, and it makes you thankful for every day that you get, and thankful for so many different things in life. And so Survival is a celebration of life and the future, and it's a great new world, and every day is a wonderful day. Thank you. The next albums are all very different.
Okay, what kind of things are we going to expect from them?
From the new albums?
Yeah, once you finish the other 2.
Well, I'm working on a 20-minute piece called Open, and it's really about opening up our state of mind, our state of consciousness to the beautiful and bigger things that are coming in the next few years. And I sing about children's slavery as well, which is really a terrible part of life. And also a song yesterday I was singing about sharing and how we need to learn to share the world and to share everything about the world. And that really needs to be aimed at these characters that hold the power of the planet, and they're very greedy, and they're very, what's the word? Well, they screw a lot of people. And so I'm writing about that. I think I've been doing that forever, but, as a musician, you tend to want to write about what's really going on in the world, and corruption is so bad in this world, and thankfully the younger people through the internet are learning about corruption and how we've got to get rid of the corruption that surrounds this planet. These are the kind of songs that need to be sung. Bob Dylan started singing them, and way before him folk singers, and way before that minstrels used to sing about it. I'm just a minstrel, man.
Yes, I don't want to get into too deep into politics here, but I take it you were very happy to see how the internet and Facebook and things like that helped with the revolutions in Egypt and the countries over there.
Yeah, it works. People get to know what people are living like and how freedom is there, for the taking, and people should jump on it. And not anything to do with religion. I think, as Gandhi said, God has no religion. So we've got to start spreading the oneness of who we truly are.
Mm-hmm. Now, as you had mentioned, you had simply put Musicians Wanted on your site, and it was a neat idea and something that was been a big success for you. You got a lot of replies. Is there any other out there ideas that you think you'd still like to try?
Well, I just put an advert for video people to get in touch with me. Now I'm working with 4 people who are very talented video people, and because I want to really make it as though when you actually listen to music, you should actually see it as well. You should, very much like the old days, you used to get an album cover, and you sit there and look at the album cover and listen to the music, and I think that we're missing that with the small CDs. And obviously people download these days, so I'm working towards music with visuals on everything that I do, and I'm working with some very talented young people.
Yes, it seems too with the iPods and MP3s and all that, people tend to push the music more into the background, whereas with video you might get people to focus even more.
Yeah, I'm thinking of creating an app which enables people to go on this wonderful visual, musical, adventurous teaching journey.
Very good. Now, you recently got off a tour, solo tour in North America here, and on the tour, jokes and stories seem to be a really big part of the set. When you go out with Rick Wakeman in the fall, will you keep that in there?
Hey, with Rick Wakeman, it's more jokes, because that's all he does. He's a stand-up comedian as well as being a very talented musician. He tells jokes all the time. It's very hard to sing with him.
Well, you have to try and get a few of your own in there, of course.
Oh, yeah, well, we do this banter a little bit more like, like Peter Cook and Dudley Moore. You know them?
I am not familiar.
Well, let's think of two like that. I don't know. Peter Cook and Dudley Moore are unique. You should Google them. They're quite amazing.
Alrighty, I will try and do that after this. After the tour here with Rick, you recently are touring in support now of the Living Tree. Are you planning on going back and doing another album with him then?
Well, we're releasing the live version of it in September before the tour. And next year, we've been writing a couple of ideas for next year, and we'll see what happens. Maybe we'll bring in Trevor Rabin if you can stop making movies.
That would be very nice.
Yeah.
Now, on your solo tour that you wrapped up, I understand that it was basically just you and your wife getting to travel around the country. Was there any particular places or landmarks that you found inspiring that may have factored into some of your music?
Oh gosh, yeah, there was one of the great pieces of America is I've never really traveled over New England, where you go through Maine, up through New Hampshire, and then up to above New Hampshire. I forgot the name of it now. Begins with V. Vermont. And we went to a place called Woodstock, Vermont, and it's the prettiest town in America. It's the most beautiful place. Wow. So everything's going good.
Very good. Now you're keeping very active these days, and back when Yes first hit the scenes, they were part of a great movement that we've now come to know as the Golden Age of Prog. Are you seeing musicians or people around you now that you think are taking progressive rock and still pushing the envelope into a new ground for the genre?
Well, there'll always be progressive music, whether it's jazz, electronic music, rock, or whatever. There's always progression in music. And there's a lot of incredibly talented young people out there ready to put their music on the internet. Screw the record companies. Let's just put the music out there and be our own thing. There's a new system called Stage It, where people can go on and put on their own show and sell tickets online. And it's a great system. And I'm going to use it when I get back from my next trip. And so I'm very excited about modern music and how the next generation of progressive music, I wouldn't call it prog rock, it's a little bit of a, it's like putting things in a box. Progressive music is North African music fused with, Brazilian music fused with jazz, fused with, all kinds of music is coming through.
Yeah. Okay. Now, you had mentioned the internet and how it's a tool that a lot of people are using now very effectively. For vocalists specifically, or just artists in general, are there any tips you would give for longevity, for maintaining some sort of success in the industry?
How do you mean? It's just you just got to keep practicing and keep going to sustain a lifestyle enough to be able to go out and tour and keep keep the business of music going, it's a natural thing to do.
Okay. After many years now of making music, is there things that you do today that are similar to when you first started, but that you still find very, very exciting?
I'm just about to do my greatest work.
Very good.
Yeah, because it'd be crazy if I'm doing this and I'm saying, hey, Nick, I've got this new album out. It's not so good, but hey, it's okay. No, my new album is beautiful. It's wonderful. It's experimental. And the next work that I'm doing is just going to blow people away. I have to think that way.
Yeah, I understand. So many artists do, and I think a lot of people think it's disingenuous when artists say that it's their best work, and they constantly. But truly, when you're creating music, I think most people truly believe it.
Of course, you have to do. So I believe my great work is coming, and I'm very excited about it.
Very good. And now I know you get a lot of your inspiration, at least previously, from literature for your lyrics. And I know you're also a painter. Do you kind of get some of the same inspirations from books for painting as you do for lyrics?
I think painting is more like for meditational, relaxing. I've just been painting yesterday, and so once a week I'll sit down and start a painting and just mess around with it during the week, a little bit here, a little bit there. And it's just different than music at times, and I'm just sort of like going from one thing to another and just enjoying my life very much artistically.
Yes. Now, so much of your music is out there to the public, and have you ever considered selling your artwork or entering it in shows or trying to do more with it?
Not just yet. Maybe in a couple of years, 3 or 4 years, when I'm 70 or 80 years old.
All right. And my next question is, since you are in with a musician and a painter, it seems kind of natural. Have you ever considered to write a book?
Well, part of the book's on the CD, Survival and Other Stories. The Other Stories is part of my first chapter of my book about my life when I was a kid.
Okay.
So I'll put it on every album. Forget the book stuff.
Yeah. All right. And one of the last questions here, the elephant in the room, Yes is gearing up to tour now, and with the promotion, it's kind of hard to miss it sometimes. Does it ever get a little emotional for you, or are you completely focused on your solo material now?
It doesn't bother me. It bothered me at the beginning when they decided to go out and they didn't tell anybody that I wasn't in the band or Rick wasn't in the band. That was a real... you've got to tell people who's in the band, because people buy tickets, and they deserve to. I was upset for a while about that. Now I don't mind at all. And I heard some of the music they just put out, and it's okay. It's not my idea of Yes music, to be honest.
Okay.
But, I did for 35 years, so I know what Yes music truly is, and I'm creating it now. And it'll come out over the next 2 or 3 years, because Yes music is in my DNA.
Oh, of course. And so many of so much of the Yes sound has been your voice, and also your lyrics, I think, are a valuable part of that.
I wrote most of the songs, and I actually came up with a lot of the ideas for the arrangements. That was my job.
Okay. Yeah,
that's my gift to the musical world.
Yeah, and certainly so much, in your legacy due to your work in Yes, and it's just been tremendous how it influenced an entire generation of musicians, I think, to a large extent.
Yeah, I was lucky to work with some very talented people, and they listened to what I had to say, and they joined in, and we all worked together like brothers, and there's a certain point in time where you realize this was great work that we did, and we're so thankful. And, it's not really me that does it, it's the divine energy of all that is. You can call it God or whatever, and I just happen to be really in love with life and nature and music and everything, and it just comes through naturally,
Mm-hmm. And that leads to one last question here, and that is that you've worked with so many musicians in your time with Yes, in your solo work with other people, and now with musicians all over the world here. Is there anyone in particular that you still really want to work with that you haven't been able to?
Buddy Holly.
Well, there you go.
I don't know. I'm working with these young kids, and they're the talent of today, and I'm just having a great time working with youth orchestras as well, and I'm very lucky, and I'm very happy about what I do. So whoever asks me to work with them, I'm just so excited to do it. So you never know what's going to happen.
Okay. Well, I'd like to thank you very much for taking the time to talk with me, Jon.
Wish you well.
Are there any final thoughts for the fans who will be seeing you in October and November touring with Rick Wakeman?
Well, come and have a good time. You'll have a good laugh, and you'll enjoy all the great Yes songs as well as the new music that we've written on the beautiful album. It's called The Living Tree. And people will enjoy that because, when you start performing the songs, they just come alive. It's just wonderful.
Mm-hmm. Well, like I say, thank you very much, and best of luck on your tour.
Take care.